Good evening, Constable.
Good evening, sir.
That's a real pea super.
Yes. Mind your steps, sir.
Thank you. I shall.
Shocking. Ghastly.
What's ghastly?
There was a mysterious body found hanging from a street lamp. Not a clue. Police have no theories to... What's that?
What?
That tea.
It's a West African poison. Leaves absolutely no trace.
In the teapot?
Remember the Chatsworth murder? The police never identified the cause of death. I'll wager this was it.
Best teapot.
I'll have the pot cleaned out and ready for use by tea time.
Don't worry, I shall never drink another drop from that teapot.
Why not? You have before. Last week in this very same pot.
Please don't tell me.
Wait for me, cabby.
A gentleman is coming here.
How do you deduce that?
Through keen, analytical, inductive reasoning. Besides, the man was talking to the driver who pointed to this address. The gentleman has now entered the building.
What else can you deduce about our visitor?
Let me see. Early 30s, good tweeds, fashionably cut. I would say a man of means. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not at the window.
It's very simple to deduce things based on what one sees. Sherlock Holmes ought to be able to tell me about the man before he sees it.
A gentleman doesn't normally call on someone without an appointment unless the matter is both unusual and pressing.
What else?
He just came up to town from the country and he...
How do you know that he came up from the country?
A gentleman, as you describe him, does not normally wear tweeds in town.
You wear tweeds in town.
I'm Sherlock Holmes.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Devon. I don't have an appointment, but I would like to speak to Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
This is Mr. Holmes?
Mr. Holmes.
How do you do, Mr. Devon? My associate, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, Doctor? Let me take your coat and hat.
Please sit down, Mr. Devon.
Thank you. I've just come up from the country. Yes, You're Dr. Watson?
Yes?
Then how did you know I'd come up from the country?
He told me.
Oh. Mr. Holmes, I feel very awkward. Do you believe there is such a thing as a curse?
Do you believe it, Mr. Devon?
Yes.
Why?
Because two men have died violently and mysteriously.
Body found hanging from the lamppost?
How did you know?
Tell us about it.
A little over a year ago, I was a member of a team of archaeologists digging in Egypt. We uncovered a tomb, complete with curse, which we laughed about, and the mummy of Amonotep. There were 4 of us. Now 2 of us are dead.
The body hanging from the lamppost last night?
And Professor Martin, he died in the tomb.
How?
He was trying to open the sarcophagus. He cut his finger. For a few seconds, it was nothing unusual, just a cut finger. Then suddenly, before we could do anything, he turned and ran back into the chambers beyond the tomb. We tried to stop him. And then the tunnel collapsed behind him. And he was buried under tons of rock.
But why do you think it's a curse?
The curse says that blood will flow before death. Professor Martin cut his finger.
But the body last night.
Hanging was not the cause of death. There was an arrow through his chest.
You said there were 4 of you. 2 are dead?
Yes, the third is Professor Taunton. He arrived at Liverpool yesterday. He'll be in London tonight at 9.
Where is the mummy?
At the home of Professor Taunton's niece.
I should like to see the mummy.
I can arrange it for this evening. The address is 23 Lowndes Crescent. You'll meet Professor Taunton there, too. Would 9 o'clock be convenient?
Dr. Watson and I will be there.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Thank you, Doctor.
He really believes in the curse.
It would seem so.
He's frightened.
With good reason. 2 men are dead.
But I mean, a curse. You don't believe it, do you, Holmes?
Just stay with the facts as we know them. One man who cuts his finger and is buried in a tomb. The second man killed with an arrow in his chest. Certainly a bizarre instrument of death.
I'm certain that we'll find a logical explanation for it.
Something's wrong. Can you hear anything?
No.
That's what's wrong. We should have heard that carriage leave. It's still out there. Quickly, Watson, let's get down to the carriage. Look inside.
I don't see anyone.
Nor I.
Something wrong, Governor?
Have you seen anyone running away from here?
In this fog, I can hardly see you. Hey, what's wrong with him?
There should be a constable on the corner. Would you please fetch him?
Right, sir.
He said that the body hanging from the lamppost was also killed by an arrow through its chest.
Yes.
And he said that the curse...
This is not a curse. This is a warning.
A warning to whom?
To anyone who doesn't believe that the curse can kill.
When they told me that 2 men had been killed in broad daylight in the center of London by a bow and arrow, I said to myself, Sherlock Holmes is involved. Didn't I say that, Jim?
Yes, sir.
You see? He's my witness.
We believe you, Inspector.
Now, if you told me that in advance, I could have prevented it.
We didn't know in advance, Lestrade.
You expect me to believe that?
No,
Because it's not logical.
because it is logical.
Now I'm confused.
I know. But if it's any comfort to you, Lestrade, so am I.
Well, I never thought I'd hear you say that, Holmes. Do you hear what he said, Dr. Watson? He said he was confused. Like me.
You and I are not confused about the same thing. Though I would like to know more about this man.
All right. Let's start with what you do know about him. Jameson?
His name was Devon, Paul Devon.
Paul Devon.
He was an archaeologist.
Is that in South America?
It's not a country. It's an occupation. They search among old ruins looking for bones.
Why didn't you say so?
A bone searcher.
How long was he with you?
5 minutes?
In 5 minutes, he can tell you a lot more than his name. He can recite the Magna Carta. You know what that is?
He was in fear of his life. He thought he'd been cursed
Curse.
by an Egyptian mummy.
A dead one.
Yes.
Deceased was afraid that a dead Egyptian mummy was going to reach out of the grave and kill him with a bow and arrow.
I know this sounds strange, Inspector, but
Jameson, close the book. When you're ready to cooperate with Scotland Yard, you'll know where to find me.
I can't say I blame him. 2 men murdered in London with a bow and arrow, a 3,000-year-old curse from a mummy. It makes no sense.
Makes no sense? Makes perfect sense. 4 men discover a mummy with a curse.
Yes,
One is killed in a tomb, a second hanged from a lamppost.
yes.
Third is here,
Then the 4th, Professor
Taunton.
Professor Taunton is the murderer. He's the only one left.
A logical assumption.
It can only be Professor Taunton.
Exactly.
All we have to do is find him.
Find him in time to prevent his murder as well.
His murder?
Of course.
But he can't be murdered. 3 from 4 leaves 1, the only one. He's the murderer.
Really?
Well, if Professor Taunton's murdered, there's no one else. 4 from 4 leaves 0. Nothing.
That's good arithmetic, Watson, but bad logic. We must hurry to 23 Lions Crescent and hope we're not too late.